All right, greetings, friends and followers. This is Nurses Talking. I'm Del Barzi. As always, if you like what you see and hear, give us a like, subscribe. Let us know what you think. So today, my guest is Nicole Vienneau. Nicole is an MSN, RN, and NCBC. She's a nurse, board-certified nurse coach. She's a recovering burnout nurse. She's been practicing, learning, and teaching well-being modalities for years. Without using them daily, she is lost, stressed, and has a who gives a crap attitude. Without using them daily, she has zero boundaries and is always looking for a new job. She can tell you that well-being strategies work. She has found peace in her work and her life and has shifted from a crappy attitude to gratitude. And she set boundaries that allow her to be joyful, confident, and at ease, no matter what environment she's in. She's the founder of Blue Monarch Health, PLLC, and the host of Gratitude for Nurse Wellbeing, a courageous online community celebrating nurse well-being. This community supports nurses in danger of burnout, helping them to go from stress, apathy, and saying yes to everyone, to peace, passion, and joyful work-life balance. She's also a podcast host of Integrative Nurse Coaches in Action. For decades, she cared for the sickest of people in the ICU and saw a disconnect between healthcare and healing. So now she combines 20 plus years of nursing experience with 30 plus years of fitness and health coaching to help nurses uncover their most authentic expression of well-being at home, work, and play. Nicole achieved a master's in nursing science and holds a board certification in integrative nurse coaching from the American Holistic Nurses Prudential Corporation and many other certifications. And she is a proud, crazy cat mom. Okay. Thank you for that, Nicole.
Thank you for having me on your YouTube channel. This is really fun.
It's fun. It's fun. And I really thank you for doing this because I think that nurses need to talk. I don't know if we actually talk enough about who we are, what we do, and I think it's time that people stop seeing us in this narrow corridor of somebody in a scrub suit or a uniform at the bedside, because we're so much more than that.
I so agree, Dale. This is huge because us coming together, and we didn't know each other before today,
Yeah.
And now we have this great connection, and we see each other for who we are and what we've done in our lives, yes, but this connection just helps us expand our understanding of nursing.
Exactly. So let me start by asking you what I ask everybody: why are you a nurse?
I didn't know that I wanted to be a nurse. Many children know what they want to be when they grow up. But I remember in third grade, they asked, oh, what would you like to be? Or I think it was first grade. And I wanted to be a clown. Of all things.
Okay.
So I definitely have that part of me still to today. And I went to college. I was doing biology. I was in a zoology program. Mm-hmm. And I realized I didn't love working at the time with fruit flies. We were doing a lot of experiments with fruit flies, and it was just, there wasn't an interaction with the human. Yeah. And that is what I really love. And so my sister happened to be doing her second degree, and she chose nursing. Okay. And I would listen to her stories. I would listen to her as she was going to school. And I thought, oh my goodness, this is something that I didn't know about. But it called me. I really thought, this is what I can do. Nursing is what I should do. So that's what I did. I went to college in Canada and I got my diploma in nursing. Yeah. And from there, I just worked for quite a while. Then I decided to get my BSN and then decided to get my master's because I love nursing.
Yeah. So are you originally from Canada?
I am originally from Canada. Okay,
so that's why you went there. All right, so now that you went there because you heard of your sister, was it everything you thought it would be?
Oh, well, at first, yes and no. I recall nursing school was a struggle. The classes were not a struggle, but the clinical was really a struggle for me. I always felt that nursing professors really wanted me to be someone I really potentially wasn't at the time. And what I learned after nursing school and coming into my own and understanding myself more, that's when I truly became the nurse that I really wanted to be, which was more in line with my character and more in line with my vision of caring for others.
If I'm reading you correctly, they wanted you to be a serious person.
They really did. I really recall one professor in clinical telling me I was too joyful at the bedside, which really broke my heart at the time. I didn't understand. What do you mean too joyful? I'm too having too much fun or too, and I come to understand what she means now. However, when we're young, and I was younger then, it is very impressionable. So I kind of lost myself after that, trying to be something I wasn't. But with experience and with self-discovery, I veered more towards myself.
Yeah. And I think patients appreciate that, though. We may not notice it, but patients appreciate that. You have to be kind of authentic, otherwise you're really not doing much. Other than completing a task, you're really not doing much.
Yeah, I agree with that. Yeah, nursing can be very task oriented. And if we are not allowing our authentic being to shine through, patients do feel that. I mean, I feel that just when I'm in the grocery store and someone is like, pressing all the buttons and they're not enjoying themselves. And you're like, oh, I want to help you. So.
What kind of areas have you worked?
Oh, I did the majority of my career in critical care. So I would say I did all of the intensive cares, from neuro to neurotrauma to general trauma to cardiovascular ICU, medical surgical ICU, all of the ICUs. Then I went into management. I was a manager over a medical telemetry unit. I loved it. I loved that. And then I moved into quality and risk management.
Okay.
And I did quite a little bit of a stint in quality and risk management after that.
So, and I asked that, one of the reasons I asked it is because I see that you are an active aging specialist. And I wonder how you got from ICU to the aging thing. And what is an active aging specialist anyway?
Right. So the story behind getting to where I am is a heartfelt story.
Okay.
Because when I was in nursing, prior to nursing, even knowing that I wanted to be a nurse, I learned about fitness, and I was a fitness instructor. Back in the day, we taught step aerobics and slide aerobics and all kinds of fun stuff like that. And through my journey in nursing, I continued on with the physical aspects. So I was training, I was teaching group fitness. I became a national trainer for an organization. I did personal training all along with my nursing career. So I felt like I was really taking care of myself.
Yeah.
Taking care of my physical aspect. I was eating well and I was working, but I would work all of those things together. And we all know that nursing is a very difficult job. We go through a lot of stress, a lot of suffering, a lot of sorrow. We see people at their worst. We also see them at their best. But through all of that, I didn't know this thing called burnout. I didn't understand that. No one had ever talked about burnout in my whole career. No one informed me of self-care, nothing like that. And I really thought I was doing a good job at taking care of myself. I started to take on the suffering of my patients in intensive care. So the stories that they told, the family stories that they told, the suffering of the patient, even though they couldn't tell a story, all of that and the pressure of being in such a high stress environment slowly started eating away at me,
Yeah.
at my heart and my being. And I actually, I thought, and I was a super nurse, by the way, for all our super nurses out there. We take the sickest patients. We're asked to take the sickest patients. We're asked to take the toughest families. We're asked to do more. We're asked to be on committees. And we say yes, because the boundaries are not there. And plus we like being asked, right? We're super. So we do all the things. We do all the things. And that was me. I was doing all the things and working out and eating fine. And I didn't know, but I started to become dreading work, become apathetic. Oh, I don't care about that, but still doing my job very well, trying to love on my patients. But I felt this dread about going to work. I started to have a little bit of anxiety about going to work. I would try to schedule myself around, different things, like, and I was thinking, gosh, Nicole, you must not like nursing anymore. You must not be doing a good job. You must not love what you're doing anymore, and you're doing your patients a disservice. So you should probably leave. And I left the bedside. I left the bedside. I left nursing. I took a job at the YMCA, which was great for me to be in the community as a nurse, right? But I was taking a job that was a lot less pay, a lot less responsibility, because I was burned out and didn't know. When I was doing that job, I realized that wasn't the job for me. However, in the journey of that, I understood that I didn't want to leave nursing. That's when I did my RN to BSN.
Okay.
And during that time, I found this article about nurse coaching. And nurse coaching at the time for me was like, whoa, I could combine all of my years of nursing and my skill, my knowledge, my critical thinking, all of the amazing things that nurses know and understand and are embedded in us. And I could combine it with my fitness experience and become a nurse coach. And I could help people, no matter what trajectory they're on in their life, to discover themselves. Now, at the time, I thought it was just a course. I did not know that there would be so much self-discovery, self-awareness, self-care, self-love, soul care, all of that. And I realized through the course and through all of the self-love and self-compassion that I was burned out. And that's how I began my journey to healing and understanding about well-being modalities. They had such a huge impact on me. And since then, I've been, using them in my life every day because I need them every day. And so to answer your question about the active aging specialist, this was one thing that really spoke to me a couple of years ago, because we're all aging. All of us are aging. No matter what we're doing, we are aging. And so to me, being actively aging, yes, we're in the form of like we're actively aging. We have no choice. However, when we're actively aging or functionally aging, we're thinking about functional longevity, like how long we can be functional in our life. Like I want to soar gracefully through this inevitable ebb and flow of aging, right? And no one's going to be young forever. So this active aging specialist helped me to understand the aging process, helped me to be able to understand that active aging means doing what you want, when you want, with who you want, no matter how old you are.
There you go.
Doing things that make you happy and joyful, that keep you vital and strong. And so this active aging specialist is a combination of my nursing and then a combination of my fitness training combined. And that's how I help people through the journey of their life to recognize that they actually have a say in how they age.
They have a say. They have an absolute say. Well, you said something so very important in all of that. You talked about boundaries and not knowing that you were burned out, because I think a lot of us don't know that we're burnt out. A lot of burnt out people, but I'm talking about nurses. I know nurses are not the only people who are burnt out, but we're talking about nurses. And I think a lot of us don't know, don't recognize the symptoms, just know that in our souls, we're not settled, we don't feel right, we're not doing what we wanted to do in the way we wanted to do it, and we can't figure out why. And I really, wish that we could somehow, you said no one talked about it before. I wish that we would. I wish that somewhere along in our education, we talk about how to care for yourself while you're caring for others to have, reduce. We're going to be burned out anyway. We're going to be frustrated. We're going to be anxious, even when we know. But if you don't know, it's so much worse.
This is so true. And that was me for a long time. Like I didn't know. I just would go to work and I would do the same thing over. I didn't know that there were things I could do at work that would help me.
Yes. Exactly.
And now I understand that. Now I incorporate different things within my work day to help when I notice that I am getting worked up about something, right? Or just like I feel that in my stomach. I didn't feel anything before. Like I didn't feel all of that. I didn't connect all the dots. I was listening to your YouTube channel yesterday. I love it. It is amazing. I love what you're doing, Dale. It is so important for us to come together and then to hear and listen to other stories, right? Yeah. And so you had Sandra Thomas on.
Yeah.
And she was talking about how nurses become disconnected to how we feel.
Yes.
And I feel like that's a protection mechanism, right?
Definitely. Yeah.
Yeah. And I connect it to what's called emotional burden. So emotional burden is when we are trying to be professionals, which we are certainly professionals as nurses.
Yeah.
And we have a disconnect with the emotions that we feel inside to our exterior. So what's going on the outside. So, and you had mentioned, all of this different varying situations we have in our job. So for example, you could have just cared for a family who is angry at you, threatening you. We deal with these things, right?
Yeah.
Then you have to leave that room and then go to the next room, and maybe you're going to give chemotherapy to someone who is terrified of chemotherapy.
Yeah.
So you have to compartmentalize those emotions. You have to leave it, and then you come into the next room and you're a different persona. But I think when we do this emotional burden, trying to be professional, our exterior says something, our interior says something else, we become disconnected to that. There's a mismatch between the two. And then we start to get numb because we don't know how to feel. Because we can't express on the outside.
That's right.
So part of my work is actually working on that. Like, how can we, disassociate, compartmentalize that, but how can we also let it go? So it's not part of us.
Let it go. Let it go.
Let it go.
It is so, it can be so hard to do that. It can be so hard to do that. I was actually on your Facebook page, this fantastic page you have. The name has gone out of my head. Nurse Wellbeing. It's
gratitude for nurse well-being. Yes.
Gratitude for nurse well-being. And I looked at you being so excited about it and so actually, when I looked at you doing it, you reminded me of my granddaughter, because when she was much littler and she would put her whole body into whatever she was thinking. That's exactly. And I thought to myself, that's what we need to be able to do. When you feel that gratitude, when you feel that release, you need to be able to absorb it into your whole body and just, appreciate it as you go along. So that was great. Thank you for that, because I really enjoyed that yesterday. Yeah.
Thank you, Dale.
So having done all of this and knowing how traumatic and how much is required of you as a nurse, what advice would you give to someone who wants to be a nurse?
I would say, please be a nurse. If you have any inkling of wanting to be a nurse, please be a nurse, because we need nurses. I would say, yes, be a nurse. However, understand who you are.
Very
so
important.
That you can weave that into your work at the bedside in your life. Know your boundaries. Know when to say yes. Know when to say no.
No.
And be okay with saying, no, thank you. Not today.
Yeah.
I don't have time for that. whatever that is, and making yourself a priority instead of saying yes to everything where you feel like you're being buried. I know this feeling. I know this feeling very well. And then one more thing I would say is find a mentor and a supportive community. So that like this listening to other nurses. And then if you hear something you like, reach out to that nurse, find them. And I can guarantee that we can connect and share stories like this, Dale, like how you're doing. This is beautiful.
I think we need to, and there's something that I think that I'm working on in a slow kind of individual way. I really, really, really want nurses to stop saying that nurses eat their young.
Oh my
I want us to stop saying it. I want us to stop saying it. We keep saying it. And you know, I guess sometimes maybe it's true, but it's not always true. And it has become almost like a mantra. It's become part of, you know, it seems who we are, and that's not really who we are.
It isn't. That is some small population.
Yeah, it is.
Some small population of what we can experience. And I've experienced that in my, not me eating another young, but I have been eaten as a young.
Yeah, it happens. It happens.
Yeah.
So also, I'm looking to see what nurses see in each other. So if you had to describe, I ask everyone this, if you had to describe the most essential quality of a nurse in one word, what would that word be?
I thought about this because you had asked the question, and I was like, man, I could think of a lot of words, but I'm only picking one.
Yeah.
So thanks for that. It's curiosity.
Curiosity.
Ask why.
Yes.
Ask why, ask why not. Don't think you know it all. You can't. Ask questions with authority. Be curious.
Yes. I have said that over and over and over again. That is a word that comes up in my consciousness over and over again when I think about nurses, because you cannot be a nurse if you're not curious. You just can't. I don't know how you manage it, but but you have to be. You have to be, because there's just so many things going on, and so much happening day after day after day, and so many new things coming at you, and so many things that you think you know but you don't. You
so true. Yeah, and when if we think we know everything, that we will end up. I think that's when we can make a mistake or an error, or we don't get the full picture because we're not curious to ask the questions. And when we can ask a little more questions, we can get more of the bigger picture. And then that helps us make clearer decisions for ourselves and for our patients.
Exactly. And so I want to know, what would you say is your greatest achievement as a nurse so far? So far.
Well, I think my greatest achievement is achieving my integrative nurse coach board certification. Not the exam itself, like the exam is an exam, but because there was so much soul care, so much self-awareness, so much self-compassion, combined with the knowledge of nursing process and nurse coaching process and all the coaching modalities like appreciative inquiry, motivational interviewing, nonviolent communications, all that stuff. But I couldn't run away from myself in that course. And that's, I was doing a lot of that because of burnout. And I could face myself, allow myself to see me, allow myself to acknowledge the suffering I was having. I had to face it, I had to unpack it, ask it why, go through the process, and the continued process today. Every day I'm doing this. So it's where I began to heal myself. And where I also found a great community. Yes.
That's great. Because, it's good that happened, because, we're supposed to be strong. And, strong sometimes means, I don't have any, I'm not vulnerable. I don't have any issues. So far from true. So far from true.
I think that I don't know exactly where that comes from, but all I can think of is our lineage, right? Our lineage of nursing. like
Yeah.
going way back hundreds
Yeah.
of years, right?
Mhm.
And
Yeah.
that was all we were always told to be stoic.
had to
You know,
be-
I remember,
That's the
don't
word.
cry with your patients, don't cry with your patients. I remember those things.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so it's almost like, crushing your own emotion or crushing your own self so that you can be the good nurse, which doesn't make you a good nurse at all. Doesn't make you a good nurse at all. Nicole, thank you so very much for this. Thank you so very much. I do appreciate this conversation. It was enlightening and so lighthearted, and so I just met you, but it's so you.
Well, thank you, Dale, for reaching out to me, for creating this space for all of us nurses to come together. It's so appreciated.
I love doing it. Thank you so much.